Welcome into Atlanta Falcons Today. I am Tom Downey, and we are this close to 8,200 subs. Let's get there on today's video. Some trade rumor stuff coming up on your NFC South leading Atlanta Falcons. We can't really always tell who's subscribed, who's not subscribed, depending on your personal settings. But if you are subbed, type in me in the comment section so we can properly thank you for joining us here at Falcons Today. We'll be around all season long, both preseason, off-season, regular season, since the Falcons this year might very well end up as a playoff team. NFL trade rumors coming up on your Falcons right now. The 2022 NFL trade deadline is, well, at this point, less than 24 hours away. The Falcons have the lead in the NFC South, and in a bit of a surprise, especially with what Matt Ryan's doing right now, the Falcons might be buyers this year at the deadline, which I don't think even the most optimistic of Falcons fans, most of them truly saw coming. The Bucs look like a mess, and the Falcons should have won that game if not for a BS Grady Jarrett penalty, so we're clear. They just took down the Panthers and the Saints, a 2-game lead between those teams. The Falcons are a very real playoff threat. Some trade targets and rumors coming up here in a little bit. But first, let's show some love to the man who delivered the game winner for the Atlanta Falcons. Younghoe, the kicker, 3 of 3, the game winner in overtime. Let's show him some love in the comment section. Type in 7, his number for one of the better young kickers in the NFL. Big ups to him for his performance. On now to some trade rumors for the Atlanta Falcons and some trade targets. All these players linked in various rumors. Atlanta certainly makes sense as a potential destination. We begin with William Jackson III, the cornerback of the Washington Commanders. Jackson is apparently on the trade block. He's been up and down this year, and sometimes more down than he's been, up at this point. The last couple years where he played for both the Bengals and the Commanders, he wants to run more man coverage. Allegedly, the Commanders have run a bit more cover 3 and zone than he wants to do. The numbers were better last year. He's kind of struggled a little bit this season, has not graded out very well, has had some issues in coverage, and looks like he doesn't want to be in Washington anymore, despite their nice little win streak with, that's weird, Taylor Heineke makes some success happen, doesn't it? But the Falcons right now are in the market for cornerback help, in no small part due to Casey Hayward being on injured reserve and A.J. Terrell still being at least a little bit nicked up. Because of that, it does make sense for the Falcons to explore the cornerback market, especially if they're a bit worried on when exactly Hayward will make his eventual potential return to the roster, because this team are a playoff threat. Let's talk Patriots wide receivers, as we so often do. It does appear that there is a very obvious favorite to be moved at the trade deadline by the Patriots. That is Nelson Agholor, who has shown promise in the past as a vertical threat wide receiver, being able to go downfield, making big plays, all those things for you. Was almost out of the league after a rough showing with Philadelphia, then rehabbed his stock in in Vegas, got paid by the Patriots, but this year, it's not contributing all that much. 15 catches, 227 yards, didn't do anything against the Jets despite the Devontae Parker injury. Grand total of 18 snaps, had 1 target, a catch for 2 yards. There is a clear pecking order in New England. Jacoby Myers, Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne. Devontae Parker was injured. You can almost put him higher up on that list. And then Nelson Agholor. So if you want a receiver, I do think you could get Agholor from the New England Patriots. Chase Claypool, next up here, the Steelers wide receiver. I've heard conflicting things about what the Steelers want for him. I heard Christian McCaffrey trade. That's ridiculous. 3rd-round pick, a little bit more palatable, and I think fairer value for Claypool, who is cheaper contract-wise than Agholor, maybe a bit more expensive trade capital-wise. His numbers have not been that great this year. It's trending again in the wrong direction, although the Steelers' offense has issues. I don't know how much of that we can really try to assign blame to for Claypool. But he's shown promise in the past, and he fits what the Falcons seem to like at wide receiver. These big athletes who are also very athletic. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, another massive frame of Chase Claypool. You got a damn basketball team out there if that's who you run out at wide receiver. Maybe you want a skinnier, fast guy to play over well, Bryan Edwards sucks. Sorry, guys. But it makes an interesting idea for the Falcons if you want to add a receiver for the games when you will have to throw the football more. Got to do it at some point. Keep winning games on the football. It's awesome. At some point, got to throw it more. So pick one. CC for Chase Claypool or NA for Nelson Agholor. Let me know in the comments section which of those two notable potential trade targets at receiver you would like to add. A name we've talked about many a time before, Duron Payne, the Commanders' defensive tackle. I love this idea. You just saw Deontay Foreman have a pretty big game against the Falcons, and that is not the best running back his team will face the rest of the way. A big 3-down run stopper and pass rusher would, of course, be a nice addition to this Atlanta Falcons team. 5 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 6 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, and that's almost the production this year, minus tackles, that's a volume stat, as we all know. The TFL sack production is almost the same. That is impactful, I think, in the modern-day NFL. I think they should continue to look for help there. I think the asking price would be a third-round pick at minimum for Payne, but he's young. You could pay him next offseason. Payne and Jarrett on the interior, handling things alongside probably Tyquan Graham. Sorry, Abdul Anderson and Dickerson and Horn, you guys can be your backups there. That's a good way to go about things from the Atlanta Falcons' perspective for Jarrett and for Payne. I would love to acquire him from that perspective. If the Falcons can add him, I'd be feeling awesome about their front in terms of the defensive front. It'd be a big pickup. If the Falcons make a trade, we will break it down for you guys here. We'll keep you covered on all the latest and greatest trade news if it happens, and the rumors, like we are right now. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button or the black and white button. YouTube's making some changes. If you got the new version, click it, and then you can set your notifications to all. That's the new version. Either way, subscribe to us here at Falcons Today. Finally, another cornerback. Nice little bookend, right? Grady Williams of the Cleveland Browns, I do think is imminently available from that standpoint for the Browns on the trade block and the Falcons as well. 41 tackles this past year, 10 pass breakups, 2 INTs for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are shopping him at this moment. That is what's going on. They are fielding calls on Grady Williams, and especially if they lose tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals, which I would not be surprised if that happened. I do think it makes some sense for him to be dealt. And the Falcons, as we talked about earlier, very much need cornerback help. That is what I think they should add. Grady Williams did not play a lot this year, kind of fell out of favor, but down starters due to injury, and frankly, I think a bit thin and unable to stop a Hail Mary that, honestly, let's remember, if the Panthers kicker doesn't suck, the Panthers win that football game. You let PJ Walker torch you for 317 yards on 19 of 36 passing. Too many big plays allowed. That's got to change, especially when you play even better offenses later in the season and or the postseason. DJ Moore was 6 for 152 and a score. I know there are injuries right now in terms of the receiving room or the cornerback room for Atlanta. Got to find more help there. So those are our top 5 trade targets right now for the Falcons. Plenty of more names, I know. But of those 5, which trade target from the video do you want the most? Drop that name for me right now in the comments section. And again, make sure you guys are subscribed.